Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to talk about something interesting I've learned when it comes to releasing negative emotions. I hear a lot of people say when you release negative emotions, such as trauma that you carry, like when you see a therapist and you dig down deep to release a negative memory that can affect you in a way where it can cause you to get emotionally dysregulated, cause triggers, cause low self esteem, lack of confidence, having anxious or dismissive attachment styles, attracting toxic relationships or friends. This is all caused by carrying trauma. And you've probably heard from me from other videos or from other people or other psychologists or therapists that you can release this trauma and then you'll feel better. And you've probably heard from these people that releasing these emotional memories and trauma is a painful and unenjoyable process. Now, I want to say something. This has not always been the case for me. Now, what I'm about to say is just going by my own experience. I'm not a licensed therapist or psychologist, and if you do want to learn more about such things, I do recommend talking to such people. However, I personally don't always agree that releasing these emotions, releasing the trauma, is always going to be an unenjoyable process. The reason is because in my personal experience, I've released a lot of trauma in my life, and the process wasn't always unenjoyable. Different releasing times varied from being unenjoyable to other times actually kind of enjoyable, while other times kind of neutral. Now, I'm not going to say like releasing trauma is going to taste like whipped cream or a sundae, but it's not always unenjoyable though, like what people make it out to be, like people say it's going to be. And I think this can be very discouraging for many people when people say this, because in my personal experience, this hasn't been the case when it came to my releasing process. Now, I'm not saying that if you do to not feel discouraged or say that there's something wrong with you. I'm just saying it may not always have to be unenjoyable. I think it really depends on how determined you are to release that trauma and how you look at it as a good thing, how ready you are. I believe you can feel anger, sadness, and other negative emotions in a way where it's actually not unenjoyable, but you just look at it objectively. And I often notice that that's the case when I use mindfulness meditation, when I observe my thoughts without trying to fight it. A lot of times when I do mindfulness meditation, yes, the feelings are there, and they're all unique in its own ways, but it doesn't mean that I suffer and not enjoy it. I just look at it as something unique. I think when an emotion becomes unenjoyable is when you try to fight it. I believe suffering comes from when you try to fight something, when you try not to allow something. Because when you're trying not to allow something, in your mind you're telling yourself that that specific thing is bad. And so when you feel it, it becomes unenjoyable. But if you allow the feelings for whatever it is, wherever the memories are coming from, just allow it. You just objectively look at it and it no longer becomes unenjoyable. You may cry, you may have different emotions, you may feel angry, but it may not necessarily be a unenjoyable experience per se. You don't have to agree with me on this, but this is what I've noticed in my personal experience when it comes to releasing trauma. So I thought I'd share this in case this might be helpful to you. If you're interested in learning more about how to release negative memories such as trauma, I would recommend watching the video Childhood Trauma in the link below.